deprived of what is there, deprived of their freedom, their liberty, and so on and so forth, by a greater and a wider Nigeria. And he stood up and he said, look, enough is enough. We will not allow our people to be treated in this way. He didn't just talk about it, he did something about it. And consequently, he was the first person in this country to lift up arms in defense of his own nationality and his own people, to try to fight for greater rights and greater justice in a wider Nigeria for the Ijaw people whom he represented. And this, I think, is a monumental achievement. And every son and daughter of the Niger Delta area, indeed every Nigerian that believes in the struggle of the various nationalities that make up this great country, should be very, very proud of this. So I want to commend you for giving Nigeria such a son. And I want to commend you and urge you to never let the rest of us, indeed the world, forget about the efforts this great man made and what he sought to achieve. And of course, we all know the history. How was he repaid? They caused him to fight a noble cause in the Civil War, having locked him up and jailed him for treason. They released him and asked him to fight a noble cause for a greater Nigeria, to keep Nigeria one. And he conceded. He came out of prison, he did the deal, he fought gallantly for Nigeria against Biafran suppression, he fought in the Civil War, and he helped to liberate his people from the occupation of the Biafran armies. After this was done, and after the cake had been baked, if you like, and peace had been restored, and all was well, what did the greater and the great Nigeria do to Isaac Adaka Boro? I'm going to say a few home truths today, because I do not believe in coming to just share niceties and leave the place. I think if you are given the honor to speak, it's important to say some things that really do make sense and do tell, no matter how bitter. How was he repaid? For his gallantry, for fighting for his people, for fighting for Nigeria, risking his life. Many of the people were killed. He was almost killed, having been jailed, convicted of treasonable felony, and so on and so forth. How was he repaid? After peace was restored, this great son of Ijaws was murdered. He was murdered on the direct instructions of the Nigerian federal state. This is something that was done. It is something that is unacceptable. And I think as we commemorate his memory, we must also remember to make the call that there should be justice. Because without justice there can be no peace. Those that gave those orders those many, many years ago, that this man should be murdered, having been used and having helped to save Nigeria and shed blood, and his own blood was shed. This man, nobody has sought to ask who killed him, why was he killed, how was he killed. And I think this is wrong, and it is one of the many unanswered questions that we have in this country today. And I put it to you, before going any further with this lecture, that until we begin to recognize the fact that human life and the shedding of human blood in this country for any cause, whether it be for a noble cause or an ignoble cause, and the murder of our heroes, those that stood up and fought for their people and had the nerve and the decency to say enough is enough. The murder of such people is something that cannot and must not go unpunished. Isaac Boro must be avenged. Those that killed him must be brought to book. The Niger Delta area must not forget. We must continue to ask these questions, and we must continue to ensure that at the end of the day, justice is done. If it is not done, I assure you there will be no peace in this land. It didn't stop there. Let me just quickly mention something about another great son of the Niger Delta area by the name of Ken Saro-Wiwa. He again fought for the rights of your people. He didn't fight with the pattern of the gun. He never killed anybody. But he did something that was infinitely more powerful than that. He used the pen and he used poetry. And he fought the powers that be. He fought General Abacha's government. He fought those that sought to oppress his people. and kill his people and rape the women of the Ijaw nation and take all that is theirs from them. He stood and he fought like a man. That is the man after my heart. And what did Nigeria do to him? He was prosecuted, jailed, executed, killed by the state. And it didn't stop there. The Nigerian state, not being satisfied with just killing him, they now poured acid all over his body, so there was no trace of him, nobody would remember him, he would not be celebrated, and those that ordered the killing would simply continue to control Nigeria in perpetuity. Again, I say, until justice is done to the memory of this great Ijaw son, and I'm speaking as a Nigerian, all of us from outside your area, from outside the area that produced these two great men, we all owe you an apology. We all owe you far more than you are even asking for. That blood and those executions and that burning of the body with acid in such a dishonorable and disgraceful manner by the government of the day is something that must be looked into, something that must be avenged, and something that we must never ever forget. Even if we forget it, you as Ijaws, as Ijaw nationalists, particularly those of the younger generation, never let them make you forget this. These are the things that happen. You must never forget it, and you must continue to ask the question, where is justice in all this? Something must be done about such things in some people. Now let me move on and speak about your great sons and daughters from the past. I invoke the memory of men like Ernest Ikoli, Kapabiri, I've mentioned Ken Sarawiwa, E.K. Clark, Asari Dogobo, and there are so many others that you have given to us as a people and as a nation. Each and every one of these people, and so many others, so many more, have contributed so much to the Nigerian Federation that, it would take a whole night and a whole day to extol their virtues here. But what I will tell you is this: please be very proud of who you are and what you are and what you have done for Nigeria and what you have given to Nigeria. Particularly Ernest Ikoli, who I think is somebody that is not celebrated enough. This is a man that was probably, in my view anyway, the greatest Ijaw leader that probably ever lived. Because during the early days, before independence, he was somebody that fought for independence. He was an NCNC leader, but he was based in Yoruba land. And a lot of people don't understand the link between the Ijaws and the Yorubas and what Ernest Ikoli did. Let me enlighten you a little bit. Chief Femi Kayode went to school a little bit later than most. He went to study law in the United Kingdom. Now, before he went, he approached a number of people to support him, to fund the education and so on and so forth. One of the people he went to was a very rich man called Chief Odutola, very wealthy man from Ijaw. And Chief Odutola looked at him and said, listen, I'm a businessman. I'm not sure if you'll finish the course if you go abroad, if I fund this. How will you pay me back? When will you pay me back? Therefore, I'm not interested in funding you and I will not support you. So Chief Awolowo left the place. And he went elsewhere. He went to none other than your son, one of our greatest leaders, and that is Chief Ernest Ikoli. And when he went to Ikoli, he put the same question to him. And Ikoli did not turn him back. Ikoli made the funds available. Ikoli made it possible for a man that ended up being perhaps the greatest leader that we in the Southwest has ever had, even though some of us may have had differences with him on some issues. But nonetheless, probably our greatest leader, very few people know that the money that was used to educate Chief Awolowo in the United Kingdom was provided by a son of the Ijaws by the name of Ernest Ikoli. If you really know that, know it to me, I know that this is fact. How do I know? Because my grandfather, who was a judge, one of the first judges in this country, was married a lovely lady by the name of Boro, who later became Kayode. But unfortunately, he died very early. He died at the age of 36. His best friend was Ernest. And after he died, I won't say being a true Ijaw, but maybe being his brother's keeper, he ended up getting married to my grandmother. So even in our own family, we have an Ijaw connection. Ernest married my grandmother, helped to educate our law, helped to raise my father, Femi Fani Kayode, and that link has always been there. And this is something that a lot of people don't know. When people talk about us being so different and us breaking up and so on and so forth, they forget that the roots and the links are very, very deep. And I, for one, would never want Nigeria to break up. However, I believe strongly and passionately that we need to recognize our differences, we need to understand our differences, we need to strengthen our various nationalities, we need to develop power from the center, and we need to understand that a strong center controlled by any particular group does not all go well for our country. I believe in restructuring this country, but I believe that this country should remain together no matter what. So I have these links with Ijaws, and I have this passion about Ijaws, and I'm very, very proud of you. Now, let us get to the main issue, which is concerning oil deprivation and also the wealth, depriving some, causing others to be wealthy, and so on and so forth. And before I go any further, let me just make this assertion. I believe that this country should remain together. I repeat that. However, I believe that the formula that we had at the beginning of the proceedings in 1960, which is that derivation was the principle for the sharing of resources, and also that the people that own the resources within the land are the very people that should benefit from it before any other. I believe that this is something we need to go back to. Because if truth be told, the reason why the Civil War was fought so brutally and 2 million people had to die in order to keep this country together was for one reason and one reason alone. And the reason why there was so much focus on the Niger Delta area over the years, in the last 50 years, is for one reason. And it's 3 letters. Oil. The Southeast, the Biafrans wanted the oil. That's why they ran over the whole of the Midwest very quickly in the army, in the war. And they wanted to hold your people down into servitude. The rest of Nigeria, recognizing that there's oil there, decided to do the same thing, push them out, occupy the place in the name of one Nigeria, and what was the result of that? Let us speak some home truth. We're talking about deprivation, we're talking about oil wealth. Okay, let's speak some home truth today. What was the result of that? The result of that was that for the next 40-something years, the Niger Delta area was held down, was pillaged, was raped, the people were killed, the people were brutalized, people suffered. In some parts, you could not see the sky. In some parts, the fish would be dead. In some parts, the people would have burnt skin and so on and so forth. All in the name of taking that oil, that precious commodity, taking it to the center, creating wealth for the whole of Nigeria, causing many to become billionaires and millionaires, building the great city of Abuja with that money. But what did the people of that area get in return? Other than deprivation, other than humiliation, other than shame, and other than insults. I commend you for having the ability to bear all that for so long. I don't know any other nationality in this country that could have suffered such, borne it for so long, in a dignified silence, without resorting to an armed struggle. I assure you that in Yoruba land it would be a different story. I do not understand, and I commend the patience of the Ijaws of the Niger Delta area. I commend you. And I thank you that despite all that deprivation and injustice and occupation and so on and so forth, you stood firm and you still chose to believe in a united Nigeria. That is something